start with the song. Do we have a song, another song? Yes. Sung by Karen Drucker.
Oh, yes.
Relax and visualize. I am healed, whole and healthy. I am well. I am well. I am healed, whole and healthy. Angels are watching over me. I am healed, whole and healthy. I am well. I am well. Now I'll head over here. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, I heard someone's not feeling well. Wherever we are, whatever's going on, there is a wholeness that resides. I believe that wholeheartedly. Good morning. Welcome to Unity in the Olympics in Port Angeles, Washington. I'm Stephan Plummer, your speaker and musician for today, and it is a great honor to be visiting with you once again. Yes. And I am springing forward. How about you?
Yes, absolutely.
My talk today is health and healing. Let's take a moment and ask ourselves, what is the commitment that I am willing to make today that supports my greater health and well-being in our bodies right now, like that we can experience starting today? A commitment, like not something that we have to do, but just something that we want to do because we want to experience that thing that, may come from that. I have a friend who, I remember seeing her in a seminar that I did, this was years ago, and she looks over at me and she says, I'm gonna lose 50 pounds. And I thought, wow, I really struggle to lose 5 pounds, And I said, oh, you are? And she said, yes. And I said, well, why are you going to lose 50 pounds? And she said, well, because I saw a lady in the park the other day, and she was climbing up a tree. And I thought, I could do that if I were 50 pounds lighter. Like that was her motivating thing right there. We don't know what's going to motivate us at any moment. And it could be coming from any direction, and it could be simple or it could be profound or whatever. Inspiration happens whenever it happens. however, wherever. And I thought, now this is interesting. She had my attention. And I thought, okay, I support her on her path. And then I didn't see her for a long time. And then I saw her, but I didn't recognize her. This was like months later. I did not recognize her, and she came up and spoke to me. And she said, "Hi, Stephan, do you remember, I'm Becky." And I thought, Becky, who was 50 pounds heavier when last time I saw her. And she was thin, she was fit. And I thought, wow, this is incredible, it works. This works. But she had fun doing it. She invented a possibility for herself that was based on something fun. She wanted to climb a tree. I don't know whether she went out and climbed trees. I didn't ask her, actually. Have you been climbing trees now? But that's an interesting thing. What today that you can think of as a possibility of something that wouldn't be like drudgery to, I'm going to do this because I have to, or my doctor told me, or my family told me, or I'm telling me in my head. I'm not talking about that coming from place. I'm talking about the coming from place that is something you want to experience. Life is the experience of life. What we are living now is our actual life. It's happening in this moment. So from that coming from place, is there something that lights you up, that pulls you, that draws you and says, come to me, I want to experience this? Do you have, anybody have those? You do?
Travel.
You want to travel?
Yeah, I took a trip on the Queen Mary 2.
Mm-hmm.
They have a brand new ship out, at the Queen Anne.
Yeah.
And I want to sail on her.
You're lit up.
I know. That's my dream.
And so how does health and well-being fit into that?
Well, it just helps me when you travel. It's a lot of energy. It takes a lot of stamina.
Sure does.
Travel.
Yes, it takes a lot of energy and stamina to travel, right?
The lighter you are, the better you are.
Lighter you are, the younger you
Exercise, you do much better.
younger you think you are.
That's
Hey, I just went back to college. I just finished my first quarter, and there's nobody older in the class than 20. Some of the kids are right out of high school. Some of them are actually still taking high school classes. Yeah. And my professor, he's a young guy. Everybody's like a young kid to me. And I'd actually brought in some candy one day. Okay, I did. I brought in candy, but it was good candy. It was healthy. And he was running down the hall, and I said, "Hey, Professor John, do you want a piece of cake?" He said, "You cannot bribe the teachers. That's not allowed in college." And I said, "What is the grandparents' prerogative?" And he said, "To spoil the grandchildren." And I said, "There you go." So then I laid out all the candy and, had a big and I'm handing out papers, and I'm doing all this fun stuff. I'm just having fun. And I feel like on one level, I feel like I'm their age. I really do. I have that youthful energy inside that has never gone away. And I don't think it's ever going to at this point, but I thought, wow, is this going to work? Well, my mom lived to be 94, and she was still sharp as a tack, and she was, and I thought, well, I can do this. And I finished this first quarter with the 4.0. So I'm taking, thank you. And I'm going into counseling. I want to go into family counseling, but I want to branch out and do groups as well. Because what really fires me up is to see people get fired up about their possibility, about what they want to do in their life, because it keeps my possibilities alive. That's what's in it for me, is that that's, there's always like, what are you getting out of it? That's what I'm getting out of it, because I want to live this empowered life. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to empower others, but I also have fun doing that. I mean, have you ever walked into a room where everybody's just, well, I come in here actually, and you guys are like, you have that energy. that is, have you noticed that you have that? I go to a lot of churches, and the energy here is so positive. And I think, well, it must be the fresh air and the mountains and the trees and everything, the birds. But you know, do you travel around and you get to feel what other communities feel like, and then you come back to your own community, and it's woo! So there's something about, I told you this plant, look. You guys are like this plant. So that's beautiful. So you're right on board with this conversation today, right? Yeah. So let's begin. Okay, so health is not only physical, it's mental, emotional, spiritual, it's all of it. It's the whole package. But for the moment, let's talk about the physical. So we have a body, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Let's take a moment and celebrate this fact that we have a body. Now let's consider and appreciate all the things that we get to do because we have a body. Just think of the things that we get to do. And these are our vehicles that we travel around in on this earthly plane of existence. We get to see, feel, taste, touch, and eat chocolate, hopefully good chocolate. Now let's take a moment and think about all the things that our bodies put up with from us. Think about that for a moment. And they still continue to serve us in the best possible ways, regardless of our treatment of them. So what is our relationship with our bodies today? Are we on good speaking terms, or do we struggle to communicate? Do we have an embrace for our body, or do we judge and make them wrong? Now, let's take a moment, stretch out your arms like this. Now, wrap them around. And then just give yourself a really big hug and say, I love you. Please forgive me for my misunderstandings. I commit to doing better. Stop judging me. I will stop judging me. I will say, honey, you can count on me. How about that? That's a Southern saying. Honey, you can count on me. That's right. You can count on me. And as I heard, you know, when something hurts, we have things that hurt. They say with every decade comes new things. It's so true. Boy, that's the wisdom of getting older. One of the wisdoms of getting older, isn't it? I think about my cat or any animal that when they don't feel well, what do? They curl up in a ball and they make the best use of their time. And they already have the fuzzy slippers on. Yeah, I was thinking about my cat. They don't judge themselves and make themselves wrong. They simply be with whatever's going on. And they have just that presence with their self. So can we take that on and be with ourselves that way when we don't feel well? Instead of, oh, you know, here I go. And I've heard it said that the difference between a regular person walking down the street and a soap opera star is that they get paid and their scripts change. So, or what's the difference between a rock rolling down the hill and us rolling down the hill? A rock just rolls down the hill and we complain all the way down. So, can we just be with whatever is going on with us and just be with it, like respectfully, or like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I have this new pain today. Isn't that interesting? I didn't have that yesterday. I think I'll talk to the doctor about that. I actually have a doctor's appointment in the morning. I'm gonna talk to her. She's a young lady. She hasn't gotten, I don't think, to the pain, ache, and pain things yet. But she's going to hear it from me. And it's all good. It's all good. I'm doing fairly well. So, all right, let's just take a moment and breathe all that in. Now, when we do feel well, what are we doing? Are we exercising? I'm not talking about like I have a treadmill, but then there's laundry on it, you know? You know, one of the things I loved about my mom lived to be 94, and I would go over and visit her sometimes, and she would have her walker, and she would use it though. She would have laundry on her walker, and she'd be walking it right along. I mean, she's still gonna find a way to do a job. I thought, wow, you cannot keep people down, especially the older generation, because they did everything. They didn't have all the modern things that we have. You know, they didn't go out and pound the rocks with the laundry. That was further back, but I remember the old washing machine. That's how I would write some of my songs, actually, because it had such a good beat. And then you look over at it and think, well, is it going to stop? You know, please don't stop. You know, you're doing a great job helping me come up with my song. And there we go, me and my washing machine, my mama's washing machine, you know. But those were the days. I could see why my mom never slowed down. How many of us had parents that were like that? They just never slowed down. They never did. They got older, but they found a way to do things, to keep moving. And I think, wow, you know, I'm much younger. Can I go out and exercise? Can I take, we have these things on our phone now, steps, like we can count our steps and how far that is. I try to go at least 6,000 to 10,000 steps a day. And it's interesting too, I look on the little thing and it tells you according to your age and what other people are doing, according to what you're doing. And mine is always over. And I thought, well, I don't feel like I'm doing very much at all. Yes.
Well, I'm 91 and I do all my own things myself.
All right.
I don't have anybody do anything for me. So I'm here on earth for a reason. And I got quite a few rough things with me right now, but I'm going to live. Because God's with me.
Yeah. Woohoo! See, sign me up. I'm on your team. I want to be on your team.
I'm a happy person.
Yes. Yeah, you see there's the talk right there. Really. That's the talk. Thank you. You know, yes. So when I feel good, what do I do? What am I doing? Am I working out? Am I exercising? What about foods and, you know, are we getting enough water? How much water are we drinking? But you know, there's secrets. You can put lemon, lime in the water, maybe a little mint. Spruce it up. Spruce up your water any way that you can get that water in, because all our organs use it. It's the stuff that keeps all the organs working, you know, and flushed.
Glasses of water a day.
Yes. Woohoo! And what about the foods we eat? I think the grocery stores, they know about human addictions. That, you know, they put all the cakes and stuff at the beginning of the store because they probably think at least half of the people are coming in hungry. So, well, let me grab up this cake. I'll probably eat it before I leave the store. Now, I've got really good habits, I do. But if I see a cake stir with the peanut butter in the middle and I've never had one before, I'm going to eat it. In fact, I did today before I came in here. I'll just fess up. Palm Sunday, we're in church. I'm going to, you know, but it was good. I don't think I'd have another one. I like the other ones better, but I'm not going to read the ingredients because there's probably some words on there that I won't even be able to pronounce, much less know what they are. I think I've heard it said that a Twinkie, the shelf life of a Twinkie is 24 years. I don't know. What's in a Twinkie that if it would last 24? Okay, we're not going to go there. But what are the foods that I'm eating because whatever I'm eating, whatever I'm putting in this body is all that it has to go on. That's it. It's not going to, something's not going to fall down from the sky and make me a healthy person because I'm thinking about healthy food. It's actually going to only be whatever I'm putting into it. That's it. That's all it gets to use. So therefore, I try to stick with things that have 1 or 2 syllables, like egg, potato, broccoli, grapes. What's some things that has 1 syllable that you could think? Quinoa. How many people love quinoa? Yay, it's a grain. It also has protein in it as well. It's one of those grains that's so, beans, all of those things. Carrots. Rice. So yeah, when I go to but have you ever noticed the checkout line at the grocery store too? There's candy bars everywhere. I mean, you're like in a candy bar thing or something. You know, they can have those little booths you can go in that they set up. Sometimes it's for color therapy. And you can go into like, okay, now you're going to go into the little blue room. And there's nothing but blue. And then now you go in the green room. And how do you feel? And they've got somebody waiting outside the door to write down how you're feeling with the different colors so you can figure out what's the best color therapy for you. But I feel like that at the grocery store, like this is nothing but candy bars. I'm in a candy bar zone. I mean, it takes willpower, especially if you like chocolate and if you're hungry. I think that 80% of the food in the grocery store is not really edible as far as for our health. It's full of sugar and chemicals and all of these, this, that, and the other thing. So I would say to think about the foods and how much water are we drinking. That would be key. And the exercise, you know, whatever that would be fun. I'm not talking about, okay, let me get on my phone because I got to go do these 6,000 steps or 10. No, what is going to be fun for you to go out and do that? Because if it's not fun, are you really going to stick to it? So let's just holler out some things that's fun that would have you be active. Just holler them out. Gardening, walking the dog. Don't you love it when you take your dog out and they're just like over the moon? Sniffing and scratching and jumping and ripping and running. I love that. That's, yeah, ecstatic dance. I don't know how to do that, but I think about it sometimes. You know, I have rhythm on the guitar. Why don't I have rhythm in? They would have never put me on American Bandstand. But dancing is fun. But I think ecstatic dancing, isn't that like, it's just free. You can be a bad dancer and be probably a great ecstatic dancer, right? And people don't pay attention to you, right? They're just doing their own thing. All right. See, now that sounds fun. I would sign up for that. Yoga has become more fun for me because I love the way I feel after I do the yoga. I'm not crazy about it while I'm doing it, although it's a great form of meditation and prayer and all of that, centering and all of that, I've noticed. But the way I feel after yoga, so much more room in my body. So do we have any yoga people here? Like to do yoga? Okay. What's some things that you love to do that would be fun that you could take on starting today that you would do, be willing to do for the benefit of your health of your body?
I swim.
Swimming. That uses every muscle in your body. What else? Swimming. Tai Chi? Yes. Let's get over into the mental part, breaking bricks with your mind, you know. Any of the martial arts, you know, if your energy's out here, it can really bring it in and focus it so you can break bricks with your mind. You can do those things that...
I do 300 leg kicks a day.
All right. Watch out, everybody. Karen, what do you love to do?
Gardening.
Yes, gardening. Okay, well, let's get over onto the mental health now. How many people garden? That's in my talk. And raise some of your own foods that you eat. Yeah. What's some of the foods that we grow ourselves? Carrots. I have to remember to dig the holes deep enough so that the carrot will grow straight down, because some of my carrots, yeah. Is that because I'm not? More sand in the dirt. Okay, I'm going to do that. And then kale. Potatoes. Karen, she has the most wonderful potatoes, many varieties. Has anybody ever heard the Cheryl Wheeler song, Potatoes? You have to listen to that song, I'm telling you. It is, you will love it. She talks about all the different colored potatoes, and they're red, they're white, they're brown, they get that way underground. There can't be much to do. So they're eating potatoes too, or something. They're talking about the potato, eating the potato plant. So, but everybody loves potatoes, including the potatoes. So gardening and raising our own food is very, very good for our mental health. Growing up on a farm, now we used to pull weeds in the garden, and it seemed like overnight you'd go out there and there'd be like weeds everywhere. But they weren't there yesterday. I know that they were not there yesterday. If they were tiny. Now they're like, I'm a weed in all my glory. And then they get around the little plant that you're trying to grow. So, where did they all come from? That's the question. And I think that mentally speaking, it's about negative thoughts. What am I feeding my mind? Like, what are those weeds that just seem to pop up from nowhere, but they don't really pop up from nowhere? They are being fed every day. Like, am I watching, how much TV am I watching? Do I watch the news and then watch the other news and then the other news after the news and then just not turn the TV off? Is that happening? That might not be good for my mental health. And because there's a saying, food for thought. So what are the thoughts that we're feeding our minds? And you know, approximately 60,000 thoughts pass through the human brain every day. So I decided if that's true, then I'm going to be like a screen door. And the thoughts are like the breeze, and I'm just going to let them pass through. I don't have to hold on to those thoughts. I don't have to nurture them, grow them into something, none of that. I could just let them be without any judgment, whatever they are, and just let them pass through. That's a wonderful opportunity. It can be a steady stream of consciousness for the mundane tasks, to just keep contemplating about life and the world around us, and we don't have to do any of that, and we can just let the thoughts go. Wouldn't that be a lovely thing? Think about how does the bullfighter in the field, you know, the beautiful dance that they do with the bull. But you never see the bullfighter, you know, okay, you know, come on. They don't do that. They just let this huge thing, like that could be a negative thought, something that just keeps at us, you know. We have sometimes those things that just keep at us, that never seem to resolve. And then we wake up with it and we go to bed with it, and it's negative. And then can we just be like that? Oh, there's that thought again. I'm just going to let it pass through. Because I guarantee you, if you let it pass through, there's going to be another thought that comes along. If we have 60,000 thoughts every day, something's going to come along and take the place of that, if we don't hang on to that. So can we be like that? Can we do that graceful dance with our thoughts? That's an opportunity. So let's just take a moment and take all that in. You know, there's a Buddhist belief that wherever or whatever we are attached to is the source of all suffering. that means that there wouldn't be any suffering if I wasn't attached to something. If I was unattached, that doesn't mean not being committed and devoted. I can be fully committed and fully devoted, 100% to something, to an outcome, but be completely unattached to it. Because that's God's domain for me. Like how things happen is how God orchestrates it to make that thing happen. It's not my job. My job is just like when I've done 5 CDs. I didn't really know what I was doing on any of them, to be truthfully and honest. I didn't know. The first one, I didn't think I was gonna, what am I thinking here? Or I'd have a friend ask, well, what studio are you gonna work with? I don't know. Well, have you written the songs? No. Well, who's gonna produce it? I don't know. Well, why do you think you're gonna have a CD out in a year? I don't know, but I'm gonna do it. And then God would have me do it before a year was up, because that's God's thing. And if it didn't happen, I wasn't attached to it having to happen. But if I have this thing set up where it's got to happen, it's got to be like this, and I've got the control, then that's a problem. That's going to be a problem for me. Because how many things happen that way? The way that we have that they must happen that way, and that I'm really attached to it. It has to happen that way. Do you see the things that we put our minds through? Because I think that on the bigger level, on the ultimate level, I think a human brain is very simple. We want love, respect. We want to be taken care of, and have our needs met, and all of those things. Those are very simple things, but then we wrap it up in all this complex because we have the ability to think the way that we do with so much going on, right? So how do we stop all of that and bring it down into the more simplistic terms of I'm going to do my part, and then I'm going to let God do God's part, which to me is riding in on the white horse. Oh, you said that you're going to have a CD out in a year. I'm going to do it in 9 months. And then there comes God coming in on the horse. I didn't know who was going to produce my CD. I had someone come up to me and say, I want to produce a CD with you. This was shortly after the conversation that I had with my friend about who was going to produce my CD. And I said, I have no idea. But I know that somebody's going to. And a couple weeks later, this guy comes rushing up to the stage, a very well-known producer who had worked with every Motown artist that you can think of, came up to me and said, I want to produce a CD with you. And we had the best time. We had so much fun together. And he even said it. He said, this was so much fun for me. It was wonderful. And how did that happen? Because I was not attached. Hands off. I'm committed, but not attached to it. Because I'm not into suffering. I don't want to suffer. How about you? But whatever I'm attached to is where I suffer. So I'm going to let the thoughts go. And I am going to have a spiritual practice and a meditative or prayer practice. How about that? How many of us pray every day? How many meditate every day? It can be like in front of a candle. It could be walking meditation. It could do the labyrinth. There's so many different ways. Ecstatic dancing. Just anything. Yoga, martial arts, any of them, Qigong, any of the martial arts. What is it that has us develop those consistent good habits, staying focused on our goals, and we increase our chances of success? So whether it's learning a new skill, adopting healthy habits, or overcoming challenges, consistency allows us to make progress. So how are we consistent in our spiritual practices? Some of the benefits of prayer and meditation are stress reduction, better concentration, improved sleep, and generally overall calmer emotions. Sounds good to me. Meditative prayer uses silence and stillness to assist those who believe in God to be able to listen and talk to God. I want to talk to God. Do you want to talk to God? I really want to talk to God. I do. Well, when you're from the South, you think that you could talk to God anyway. You think that you're the only people who can speak directly to Jesus. You don't need an intercessor or anything. You just speak to Jesus directly. That's a Southern thing. For any of us from the South, you know what I'm talking about. So we can close our eyes, we can play music, lighten a candle, and whatever works for you to bring that mental and spiritual peace into fruition in a way that would be fun, that works for you, that helps you to live your life more fulfilled. And we can do that. We can do the gardening and play the music that sings to our, we can have the little Alexa set up. Alexa, play. I love that. Lately, I've been listening to the song that won the Oscar, the Billie Eilish song, What Was I Made For? That's a very beautiful song. Very simple, but very, very beautiful. But I love that you can just speak into the Alexa, and you can read books that way or have them read to us as we fall asleep. You can have rain sounds and all of that, whatever you want. That it's all at our fingertips, have you noticed? We don't have to work hard nowadays we don't have to go out and pound the rocks to clean our laundry or any of that stuff. We can just let all the machines do that. But we are a machine. We are a machine. So what are we feeding the machine? What are we feeding the machine? I had a cakester. I'm good. I'm good. It's a great name. I mean, how are you going to avoid eating a cakester if there's one right there and it says cakester and you love cake? What are you going to do? No, you're going to bring apples next time. Apples, Karen, next time. Karen drives the bus, so she has these children that they're sometimes hungry. And isn't that sweet? Let's give Karen some love. She is the sweetest person. She is so good to those little children. I said, what are you doing with the cakester? Sometimes my children are hungry on the bus. They haven't, you remember those days when you were hungry and yet gotten back from.
Well, they are on my bus for an hour, so.
They're on her bus for an hour. She wants peace and quiet, so she bribes them with the cakester. No, I'm kidding.
It's a long time from lunch to that drop.
Yes. Like for little kids, you can't say.
So are we willing to assist and cooperate with our bodies by nourishing it with healthy foods and plenty of water and regular exercise and rest? Are we willing to extend love and compassion toward our body, love ourselves unconditionally, simply take care of ourselves when we don't feel well? I mean, are we willing to do that? Can we do that? Are we willing? I know we can do that. Are we willing to do that today? Is anybody touched, moved, or inspired right now? Yeah? So think of something right now. Could be one thing, it might be several, I don't know, whatever God is inspiring you to right at this moment. And think of it as, here's this little hunk of gold that you're being given. And you can do whatever you want with it. Or there's seeds that are being, sown throughout, and then you get to say, this is what I want to grow or not. I have 3 apples. I told Karen, I have 3 apples. Well, I ate an apple one day. It was a Honey Crisp, and it was like this big. And it was the most delicious apple. And the whole conversation that I had with this apple while I was eating it was, when I get done with you, I'm going to plant the seeds. And I'm going to grow apple trees from you if I can. I have 3 apple trees, seedlings now. So I think I'll take them over to Karen's property at some point later on if they survive and grow them. I mean, what a great gift. I think about it, like, what would it be like in 20 or 30 years? Maybe, when I'm not here anymore, will it be a tree that someone can enjoy these wonderful apples from? So what is the thing that we can plant right now within ourselves that we can enjoy while we're here? The excitement of a seedling coming up. And I don't know how that would look. Maybe we'll be working out and we'll see a little muscle right there. Like, whoa, that muscle wasn't there yesterday. I like that little seedling muscle. Or, the little seedlings that we see coming up in our life from doing the, if I drink more water, what's the seedling? Oh, I feel better. I'm more energetic from the water. Or the better foods. Or the clear air. Or I know our dogs are going to be much happier if we take them out more. Or if we meditate more, the world is going to be a better place, I will assure you. The world will be a better place. If you don't get anything else out of this talk today, I hope that you will commit to having some sort of a prayer and a meditation in your life. I don't care what it is. If you get nothing else out of it today, because that's going to bring beautiful things into your life and on the planet. That will do it. That will do the trick. I'm convinced. So now let's practice surrendering and turning all of our worries and everything over to God. Let's just pray right now. How about that? Let's pray. Dear Father, Mother God, I know that perfect health is my divine birthright. And I embrace that perfection right here and now, turning over all of my own understanding and fears and doubts over. I turn them over. And they return to the nothingness from which they came. I allow peace to wash over me and feed my soul as I lean into and let go of all of the feelings and the desire to control a particular outcome. And I simply be and rest in the knowledge that within God all is perfect, well, whole, and complete. I simply rest and trust and allow. I surrender to the divine God of my understanding. All is well, all is perfect, all is complete. And as I know these truths for myself, I also know these for my brothers and sisters in this room and beyond this room, extending out into the world. I release my words of health, healing, and wholeness, and I let it be knowing that my words return to me filled with all kinds of health, healing, and wholeness. That is my divine birthright. It is our divine birthright. Let's just sit in that for a moment. This is our divine birthright. We're going to fall back on the feather bed of faith right now, not needing to know, not needing to do anything with it, but that it's going to be done for us in the divine right action of God, the perfection of the mind, the body, the spirit. I ask God to show me, God, what can I commit to today in order to get me where I want to be, that will bring joy, contentment, and happiness. I thank you, God, for the health and the vitality that I enjoy today. Thank you for functioning organs, working joints, strong muscles, and sharp senses. And so it is.